Hello, once again, electronic media students. This is Mr. Roper here, and I'm here to talk to you about playing cards. Our next assignment is going to challenge you to create a series of designs that can be used for a deck of playing cards. Now, I'm not going to have you create the whole deck because that would be crazy. And as much as I'd like to torture you with the designing all 56 cards, I think I'm going to challenge you to design just 4. And out of those 4 cards, you're going to design at least one face card or royal, like you see here. King, Queen, Jack are your royal face cards. A number card, anything from 1 through 10, an ace, and a joker. These are the 4 cards that best represent the style of your deck, and it will give you the most creative freedom for where you can take this. Now, we all know the traditional trading card decks look something like this. They've got their face cards are usually mirrored versions of the main character. We've got 4 suits, hearts, diamonds, clubs, and spades. And then your series of number cards, which usually are pretty boring. They just show the actual numbers inside the cards, usually with like 4 clubs or 5 spades. But designers for a long time have used playing cards decks as a really cool design exercise because it challenges you to create a system of designs. They need to look like they belong together. So you can do that in a lot of different ways. One of the links I'm going to share with you here is from Behance, and I just did a search for playing card decks. And you can see how different designers have approached this, anything from hand-drawn sketches to purely abstract geometric shapes, colorful montages. You can even get creative with the color of the card themselves and doing different colors for each of the different suits. You can stick with the royals that we're usually familiar with, or maybe you want to give it a cultural slant where you've got some different characters from a different set of cultural backgrounds. You can also see that you can get very abstract with your drawings. You can do pencil drawings, you can do shapes, or maybe you want to include some pop culture references in there. If you want to do your deck of cards around a show, a movie, a comic book, an anime, Gigi. You've got lots of different options for what you can do here. And some of the coolest ones really take the idea of a playing card and completely abstract it. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys several resources to get you inspired here. And I want you to think creatively. What is going to be the theme of your card deck? What will be the style? What color palette will you stick with? And we always try to limit it, our color palette, so that we're not getting overwhelmed with too many choices. You can use color.adobe.com to pick your color palette for this. You also want to think about fonts. Fonts play an important role in the design of your playing card deck. So how will you use fonts for the numbers and the suit headings at the top? We're also going to be sharing with you a Pinterest board with lots more ideas. You can see some of the styles that different designers have used on this board to express their playing card motif. Okay. Now to do this, I'm going to give you the option of using the software of your choice. You're going to start with a template with the 4 cards available to you, and then you'll be able to pick and choose whether you want to use vector art like Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop and do it more of a bitmap project. So I've prepared a template for you that looks like this, and I just created this in Illustrator. And you see it's got all 4 cards of the design on there. I'm asking you to design 4 cards: ace, joker, any number card, and any royal face card. Okay. And there's your choices, and there's your suits: hearts, diamonds, spades, and clubs. I've also indicated on this template some key lines that you're going to want to pay attention to. The black line around the outside is what we call the bleed. Whatever color your card ends up being, whether it's white, black, or any other color, you want that color to extend all the way out to these black lines, okay? The pink line is where your card will be cut out. So no matter what graphic you have inside that box, they're all going to get cut right along that pink dotted line. So you don't want to have anything get cut off past that line that you're not intending. The green area is your safe zone. This is where the majority of your artwork should fit. Of course, you can have images that go beyond that green and get cut off by the edge of the card. But for the most part, your main images will be right here in the center, and also making space for where the numbers or the suit is going to go, like the 10, etc. So you can use this template and design your artwork right inside these boxes or right on top of these boxes as you go. Now, because we don't have access to all of the Adobe software, if you're thinking about using vector art, I recommend Gravit Designer. Okay, it's at designer.gravit.io, and it works exactly like Illustrator. It's got all the same tools, all the same setup. So I'm going to be doing my demo right now using Gravit, so you can see how that works. I feel like most of you are comfortable enough with Photopea or Photoshop. If you're going to go that route, you can stick with that software. Okay, so here I am inside Gravit Designer. And what I'm going to do is open the file from my computer. I'll be sharing with you guys that card template. And you're going to just take that card template, open it up, and you'll see it appear full screen like this. Now, just like Illustrator, you can zoom in with Control+, Control-, or Control-0 to go full screen. You can use your space bar to move the page around. So I'm going to jump up to my first card here by zooming in, moving it in a little bit. And if I were going to lay this out, I can use some of the tools here in Gravit to create my vector art design. Okay, so I've got a text tool. I could go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to do the number 10 card. So I'll click once, and as soon as I do, it adds a layer for text. I can double click that layer to highlight it. And I'll choose my font from over here on the right-hand side. Okay, so I've got font. I've got the font size. I can do bold, italic, all the different options that you would normally have. You can even change the opacity down here. So what I'll do is I'll say, okay, I'm going to pick kind of a bolder font for this. Doesn't really matter for this demo. I'll pick something that's got a little bit of style to it. Orbitron's kind of nice. It looks kind of futuristic. And I can do a couple different things with it to change its size. If I take my selection tool here, I can just grab that layer and move it around on the page wherever I want to put it. I've got a little white handle that I can rotate the number with. Control-Z goes back just like anything else. But if I want to resize this number, I've got to change it to outlines. So I'm going to take it from being an editable piece of type, right-click it, and convert it to a path. And now you can see it's actually traced that number. Now, if I grab a corner and hold down Shift, I can enlarge that number, and I've got a little bit more flexibility for how I can move it around on my page. To make a copy, I'll just hold down Alt. I'll drag my copy down here to the bottom, and I'm going to use the white handle to flip it 180 degrees top to bottom. Okay. Now, I may want to play around with color in this a little bit. I could always click inside. Over here, I've got my fills, so I'll pick my fill color right here. Go to my spectrum, grab that bright red, and that's looking pretty good. Okay. Now this is even leading me to believe like there might be some cool things I could have hidden behind this box. That would be kind of neat. I've got all this working space here for my other artwork. And in vector art, you've got two options for making artwork. You can use the shape tools. So for example, I could take a rectangle and an ellipse, and by combining shapes, I can create more complex ones like this. Let's actually take these. I'll change my fill color here so you can see what I'm doing. Just pick a bright blue for now. And you can see just by overlapping these two shapes, I can make them appear to be something else. Or if I select them both, I can combine these two together and create a new shape. I've got this option right here. Create compound shape. When I click it, you can see that it has now combined those two shapes into one. So this is how I can build up some more complex designs. The other option for drawing inside of a vector art program is using the pen tool. Some of you have had some experience with using the pen, but basically you just click and drag to make your line segments. And then as you go, you see it wants to continue that shape. I can either continue the curve by just clicking again, Or if I alt click on that, I can cut off the handle, and that frees me up to make straight lines once again. Okay. Again, that's alt clicking on this little anchor point, and then you can connect it up. Any vector art program depends on drawing completed shapes. So when you connect the dots, you've now created a shape, and that shape can be filled with any color. You can come over here again, grab a color out of the box, and you can decide whether you want this to have a fill color and whether or not you want it to have a border. If I'd like this to be a thicker border, I can increase its thickness, or I can say 0, no border. I just want this to stay as it is, okay? So this is one way you can do it. You can also use Photopea, bring in images, collage them together, and create a design using bitmap images. Or maybe you want to do a combination of the two. You can always bring in imagery to Photopea by loading a file from your desktop and bringing it into the design. So I could go import, place image, and if I grab any graphic here, I'm trying to think where I've got some, maybe I want to do one from, I've got one right here. I've got a DSLR image. I just brought this in, and I should just be able to zoom out, grab that vector art image that I created. I can shrink it down. Oops. Let's try that again. And move it into my design like that, okay? So lots of different ways you can bring in your artwork and create something unique by building up those shapes. Your task is going to be to first come up with the theme and concept behind your playing card set. Sketch out your designs. I really encourage you that. You did a great job of that on your last propaganda posters. Sketch out what you're thinking of doing. Pick a color template. Again, if I go to color.adobe.com, I can bring up some palettes and look for some different variations like triads or compound colors, etc., until I find some color codes that I want to use for my project. And have fun with this one, guys. You have a chance to get really creative on these projects and take a basic playing card and make it something really unique. Good luck.